Okay, awesome. Hello, everyone. Give me a minute. I'm just going to come to, I was just checking the LinkedIn. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I'm Sudha Jamthe, and this is Sudha Live. And let me see, I have a whole bunch of AI in here. I'm doing this on Zoom, streaming through Restream, and then it is streaming on to LinkedIn and to YouTube. So if you're watching this on LinkedIn, I'm listening to you, I'm going to answer questions, and we're going to have a fun time having a conversation. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm not going to be able to come and juggle and look at that at the same time. So this is likely going to be seen afterwards by you on YouTube. Okay, so I'm Sudha Jamthe. I'm here in Silicon Valley. I'm a technology futurist, and Sudha Live is my happy hour with you, where I get to do almost like an office hour. And this time, thank you to the LinkedIn Learning team because they've posted this link on Office Hour on LinkedIn Learning. So when you see any of my courses at the bottom, you might see this and then come and find me. So I'm very happy to always see my students. But with LinkedIn Learning, I don't get to know who you are because with my other classes, I do live online classes. I get to see people face to face. So I'm very happy to answer your question, and I'm here to help you on your learning journey. So I focus on AI, Gen AI. Previously, I've taught IoT and autonomous vehicle topics, and my calling is to bring everyone into building AI together. So typically, I have product managers, business leaders. Now I have a whole batch of designers who I'm teaching in university in Spain, and it's all different perspective of how we come together. So what I do in this hour is I will bring you AI opportunities. I'll look at what's happening in the generative AI space through the week, and I'll bring you an insight or something that will help your learning journey. I'm not here to compile a whole bunch of things. I don't care about any PR done by anybody. I'm not affiliated with any brand. So I will look at play with real things that shows up in my radar, but I look at it from a lens of building stuff. So I believe in building things. I believe in how things are done for real in industry and in a very collaborative fashion. No one group or one person ever builds anything. Innovation happens because somebody thinks of something, and I've seen a lot of different people come up with ideas, and then somebody's already doing that, or they've thought about it for their universe, and that's okay, right, as long as you give due credit and build on that, right? So from a tactical perspective, I'm going to bring you AI opportunities in terms of jobs, call for papers, any kind of call opportunities, events. Those are the three things that I would be giving you. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about what is the big launch, what are the launch that I'm seeing. Is it worth it? I'm not going to pick the latest PR thing. I may not even talk about it if I feel like it's just an announcement, or if I think it's not material. That's it. So for those of you, jump in. And on LinkedIn, I am able to see people. I am able to see the count of people. I don't know who you are. So if you want, you can introduce yourself, ask a question. If when I'm talking about something, you can say that's the topic that I have worked on. That will be good. Or thank you. I see more people coming in. And you can all, or if you don't want to talk, you can, there's a bunch of emoji trays up there, and you can, use one of them. And I've never had anybody laugh at any of my jokes and use the laughing emoji. I hope somebody would do that, and maybe I will give you a joke worthy enough of earning that laughing emoji. But feel free to use the emoji or engage however you see fit. And if you're coming back and watching this later, tag your friends who might not be in the same time zone. So I'm doing this usually the end of the day, Friday for me, and early morning Saturday in Asia and that half of the world. So first of all, today is not just any Friday; it is March 8th and International Women's Day. So happy International Women's Day, everybody! This has been so exciting for me. I teach a lot of classes, and I teach for different universities. So I'm kind of working in different time zones. But one of the things that has been very exciting for me in this week is, because it's International Women's Day, I do an event called Women's Planning. And I was thinking too many classes, and should I be doing this? I've done this for 2 years, International Women's Day on the March 8th. And then Kelly Sinclair pinged me from Automated Buildings, and said, you've done a post earlier, a couple years back, that was amazing. Are you going to do your women's planning thing? And I was like, I don't know. She wanted an article. I said I could write an article, right? I ended up writing an article for Automated Buildings, and I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. But then what happened is, I had a whole bunch of people who are used to working with me on this topic. So I don't specifically do like any women art activity, except I do this for International Women's Day. I collect 2-minute videos from women explaining a topic that they are expert on and passionate about. And I'm going to bring some of that to you in context of what I'm talking to you about. The second thing is, 1 month from now, on April 9th, I didn't even realize it's exactly 1 month later. I've been doing that for like 6 years. April 9th is called IoT Day. And on IoT Day, I do this thing called IoT Day Women. Sometimes I just call it IoT Women. And there's a lot of us who come together. Roxy Stimson, and Susanna Raj, Yashashwini Vishwanath, and Parya Sarin has been working with me on women's planning and this and so many other things for last couple years. They come together and we do a 24-hour live stream, all women speakers, and literally 24 hours. So whenever it turns April 8th, anywhere in the world, the sun rises in Japan, we start off, and then for 24 hours we'll have a live stream. You don't need to see me for 24 hours. I don't think I will last talking to you for 24 hours. Maybe I will. I love this. But Roxy and I will come in morning our time on April 9th. So I'll tell you about that another time, because those are my two women centered activities. But I'm not shy to call things out when things are not diverse, because all my research is on inclusion and in the autonomous vehicle space and on language AI and the like. So what is this women's planning, and what are you going to see today? So typically, so the place to go, let me share my screen. So I'm not going to be able to show you everything. It's so much content and I love this, but I can't do justice to it. So I'm just going to show you where you can go find it. Let me share my screen first. Okay. So this is a URL. You see my URL also in here. It's called bit.ly/women's planning playlist. And in here is a bunch of videos, all 2 minutes videos from women who have women's planned for International Women's Day. And I've tried to go back and find my past videos of the last 2 years and bring it here. I don't think we have every one of them from the past years, but we have a few of them. But definitely all the new ones from this year I've been uploading. So thank you everyone who's contributed to that. I just love that. Okay. So this is where you can go follow up at a later time. Did I share my screen? Are you guys able to see it? Yes, you are. Okay. So thank you for that. Okay. So what am I talking about? I mean, what is thank you so much. There's so many people. The thing when I work on this kind of activity is I have a lot of guys who are colleagues of mine, students of mine, who have been working with me, my friends, who come in and they make referral for women who they respect in their careers. And some of the dads and brothers come in and talk about their families too. So it's I hear a lot of heartwarming stories, so that kind of motivates me to stay up late and stuff. So the way I've organized this is, because I work in tech, I have a lot of people and I focus on, as a technology futurist, I'm looking for the latest, greatest thing. And then I ground myself on, does this make business sense? You will see me very exuberant about a lot of technologies. In fact, if you watch me carefully, and if you're reading my newsletter or attending my thing, I will not talk about things I don't like. Typically, if they piss me off, I'm just going to talk about it because I think the world should know and fix it. But in terms of exuberance about technologies, I focus on what I like. I do not focus on the ones I would say I think that's not going to make it and that's not good enough, because there must be a bunch of people who are passionate about it and they're building that up to get someplace. So if you see the Gartner hype curve, usually there is like a climb and there's a lot of technologies climbing up, and then there's something at the top, which is the top of the hot technology of the year, and then they come down and some of them take a longer path. So the beauty with tech, having worked here a couple decades, is things come, some things are too early for the market and then they kind of come back again, and that wave happens. So I, unless something I think it's a very absurd idea or a misuse of technology, you would not hear me complain about that. It's a waste of my time, right? So but the thing is, I wrote about IoT disruptions as my first book when IoT was at the top of the hype curve. And I said, oh, it's going to be AI, and then we are going to go from IoT with the data towards AI. I said that, and my next book was about cognitive IoT. And before that, I got excited about autonomous vehicles, started chasing them. And so that became the next year's top of the hype curve. And then AI picked up, and I was talking about machine learning. And then I'd spoken about language AI inclusion a couple years back, when ChatGPT was not a thing. And my student, Viola Mayback, and her team, Christine and Gemma, I think, from Barcelona Technology School, conceived of this idea of a chatbot that will sit in meetings and help foster innovation. Like all the summary bots, all the AI assistants of today, that was an idea they conceived before ChatGPT was born. Brilliant, right? So I'm going to start today's session with AIX Women's Plained by um, Viola. Let me find that. Okay, I have it here. Okay. Um, and I'm going to go do this in random order, and you are going to ask me questions, and that's going to help me direct this. Otherwise, I have content about AI, generative AI, AIX from the various women's planning videos, and I'm biased towards my students, so you'll hear more of that. Okay. So let me go to the beginning. Let's go to the very beginning. Do you know what song that comes from? Sound of Music. Okay.
Hello, lovely people from all around the world. I'm Viola. I'm a UX designer, and for women's planning, I want to touch on two questions. What is AIX design, and what does a UX designer working on AI products and services actually do? So yeah, UX design focuses on the user experience, the interaction between human users like you and me, and everyday products such as the website you're using right now. It's an extremely varied discipline, which is combining psychology with research, with design, with a business perspective, and also the technology. And yeah, as technological transformation is evolving, now there are UX designers needed to design the interaction between human users and the products and services using artificial intelligence. For example, your Amazon Alexa at home, or the chatbot you interact with on a website, or even your self-driving car. And yeah, so let's take an example. Let's take Alexa. Um, so to say, first of all, Amazon made a huge step towards making people's lives easier by introducing a product to the world that changes the whole experience of how you interact with your surrounding. It's so easy now to just turn off the lights and turn on the music and stay on your couch. And yeah, not only did they introduce this new product to the user, but also Alexa, the personality inside of the device
Yeah.
herself. And yeah, on the one hand, AIX designers working on Alexa decided on her being female. They decided on her having an introverted character, and they decided on her specific humor. And yeah, on the other hand, there was the decision made to not only let Alexa be controlled by speaking to her by voice interaction, but also having a light ring that communicates with you in a visual sense. And on top, they have the physical button to haptically turn her on and off. And yeah, all of these design decisions, they're all tied back to what makes products and technology usable, what makes it enjoyable for the user, and what makes it accessible for us humans. And yeah, AIX designers are needed in the product development and in order to design a customer-centered world where we will coexist with the AI, with the products that are run with AI. And thank you very much.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing.
Hello, my name is Pragati Roy.
Prakiti Rai had done this AI for good a couple years back, women's planning, but I'm going to pause this share and come back because my plan here is to come back and show you guys um, something in context with the AIX design that we were talking about. So when you think of AIX design, that whole giving a personality to the AI shows up. And when I was looking at Alexa, I was not thinking of Alexa as being introverted. And the idea was I thought Alexa was, because they decided Alexa was a female, Alexa was acting kind of stupid, right? That didn't sit well with me. So I have a framework called AIX design, which is how to systematically decide, does it need a gender, does it need a certain personality, how is it going to what is the tone of conversation, and how does it communicate, is it more proactive? And there's a bunch of things to think about, and my students go through this exercise. But this week, in the class I was telling you about, in Elisava School of Design and Engineering, for AI designers, I've been asking them one question. When you think about building a product, right, and you're creating a front end, a UX design, and you're saying, here's the user experience, what is the screen where the the product meets AI? Because in industry, AI is built by multiple people, but there is data scientists in technology companies who build AI, and then they give it as an API available for machine learning engineers to go throw in more data, model it, and build it, right? And then build the product in partnership with product management. A lot of these gray areas or the interface between different groups, those decisions end up with product managers. That's why I see a lot of product managers in my classes. They might be business people acting like product managers, or engineers who want to become product managers. And then there is the UX designers, and I'm simplifying this as three camps because that's how I'm teaching this cohort of students. So my question is, you can do the UX flow and decide on the AI persona and the personality. You can product manage the whole thing, saying what is the customer problem and how am I going to delight the customer? What is the data I'm getting? How is this data training the AI or modeling the AI? All that is great. But one of the things that's not taught even in design schools that I am seeing is UX design is taught separately, AI building is taught separately. And then the point at which the AI meets the UX is not taught. So there is one area called MLUX where they get a feed, like a recommendation feed or something, and then you give it to the UX designer, says the AI is going to give a feed of a bunch of these products. Now you decide on the layout, on we'll A/B test it and do it right. So anyway, that's an exercise I'm going with my students, and I love it. And my big question to them is, at the point at which the AI is interfacing with the product, why is it interfacing at that point? What particular AI? What is it doing? What is the training AI doing? What is the inference AI doing? So that's a interesting topic for another day, but I just wanted to share that, especially if you are in the UX world. I would love to hear from you. Is this something you think, or is this something that comes and messes up your overall product management schedule on launch plans because there's a disconnect between the UX designer and the actual model builder? And so that's a thought that came to my mind. There's a bunch of other people who are working on different aspects of this. Let me see. There is in the women's planning videos, one of the things I have is from Sushma, talking about how do you automate the AI flow. And before we proceed on to, okay, this is amazing, and we are talking about AI and AIX, I want to bring up a women's planning video from Susanna Raj. Let me see if I have that open here. And it is about what is not AI. Okay, it's not here, so I'm going to open it up. Okay, I'm going to go back and share the screen. And yes, Susanna is soft spoken, but we had a session called soft spoken. But watch out, she's in that camp. Okay, so you're able to see the screen. I want to go to my LinkedIn and check whether you guys have any questions for me. Yes, I see more people. Come on, guys. I need to see some love. I need to see some questions from you. So far, I promised to give you AI opportunities. I've not gotten to that. I told you about women's planning. I just started with UX design from Viola. And I talked to you about the AIX design because that's a thing that I'm seeing in industry. Like I said, I will see what is happening in industry and bring it to you. So if you are working in the AIX field, or you're working in the UX design field, or you're in building in product management, if you're seeing the disconnect between design and data science or machine learning, how are you tackling it? What is the right way to do it? So the way I'm proposing with my AIX framework is to create the UX design and then see at what point is the AI interacting with the front end of the product or a different flow of the product, and think about it in a very rational way. Okay, so I'm going to show you what is not AI, and then we'll get to what is generative AI. Okay. Um it is sharing the screen and it is showing something else. So I'm going to go back, stop, share the screen. And I see a lot of you, more than my usual number. So I'm guessing you all came from my LinkedIn class. So I would love to welcome you and answer your questions. So I have two courses on LinkedIn live LinkedIn learning. One is about no code AI build. My specialty is kind of no code because I love for you to learn the nitty gritties of technology. So I say I operate between uh, the gap between technology and business. It's like business at the top and technology depth at the bottom. I want you to learn the details of how AI works. So in all my books, I explain that. In all my courses, I explain that. So that's a no code, and then there's a no code course. It doesn't have no code in its title. It's called artificial intelligence for connected products, and I explain a lot of the models inner workings of the uh, model. I meant to say underpinnings, but inside working of the products. Okay, so welcome, and I have look out for that same place where you see my other courses, because I'm going to come up with another course, and it's in production on generative AI, also using no code. Okay, so let's go back to Susanna and let's see what is she saying is not AI.
Anna Raj, I'm back here again by invitation of Sudha Jamthe for International Women's Day, and her theme is always women's planning, a topic that apparently should be easy enough for people to understand, but it seems like many are having a difficulty with that, especially with the entire news debacle around Gemini by Google. I thought I will come back here and do a women's planning video on why definitions matter. And if you don't define what you are trying to measure, if you don't define your variables of what you're trying to measure, and if you're not trying to define them accurately, then you might be measuring something else entirely. And that's what happened. So let's get back to basics. What is AI? AI, as you know, I have explained in other videos before, but basically it is a statistical algorithm that is trying to reason and predict based on pattern recognition in any given set of data. It is trying to learn from the pattern recognition in any given set of data. What is not AI is anything that repeats itself without deviation. But let's get back to what is generative AI. Generative AI, in my opinion, is production and automation without a lot of prediction and reasoning. As you may have all seen, all of the generative AI tools right now cannot predict and reason for you. It cannot even carry out a conversation with a lot of reasoning in over a long period of time. So let's get back to this year's theme. What is inclusion? Where did Gemini go wrong?
Okay.
Inclusion, if we
Before I
define
go
it, is that
on to the Gemini, because you must have heard that Google Gemini was doing too much of fine tuning and then got blamed for not including or changing history, as they called it, about not including um, the historic people who were a part of different time frames in US history and world history. And so the thinking was to add more inclusion, and then they kind of overdid it. And so that was the fine tuning piece. That is the fine tuning piece of when you take generative AI and you build um, fine tune it so that the model will behave within a certain amount of decency, because it is picking all kinds of chatter from the internet. That's how it is trained in its brain, right? So if it is going to be a chatbot you build and it is going to talk to your customers, you don't want it to kind of go crazy and turn off the customers, or just be indecent that it's not acceptable to your values in your company, right? So what I wanted to do is I paused that video, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you another definition, because this is what happens in the real world, right? We all come with a certain definition, and even if we think we are doing the right thing in terms of what is acceptable definition in terms of what's taught in college and courses, somebody who's coming from engineering, somebody who's coming from product, somebody who's coming from UX design are looking at the same product, solution, value creation, and the customer very differently, serving the customer very differently. They might have agreement on who's the customer, but that is very different, and it kind of creates chaos. So one of the things I've been talking today is where UX meets the model, right? So now I'm just going to the definition of generative AI. We heard from AI ethicist Susanna Raj, who wants to talk to us about inclusion next, right? I'm going to show you what my student, Paula, is thinking about this. Okay.
Hola,
Okay.
hi,
Oh, come on.
I'm Paula and I'm from Colombia. I'm living in Spain. I'm CEO of Linked AI and I was a student of Sudha Jamthe at Stanford University. Today, I'm woman-splaining generative AI. Generative AI represents an evolution in the field of artificial intelligence, where the focus shifts from understanding to creating new content. At the heart of this technology are large language models, or LLMs, which are trained on enormous datasets with a wide range of human knowledge, including books, articles, and diverse web content. These models learn from data to generate responses that are not just accurate but contextually relevant and often impressively fluent. A large language model works by understanding the structure of language at a granular level. It evaluates sequences of words and assigns probabilities to each possible continuation, effectively predicting the most likely next word or phrase in a sentence. This isn't just random guessing. It's an informed prediction based on patterns and associations the model has learned during the training phase. To give you an example, consider the sentence, "On a rainy day, I like to read." A generative AI model, based on its understanding of common human experiences and language patterns, might predict that a book or magazines are highly probable completions reflecting common rainy day activities. In contrast, it would assign a much lower probability to "On a rainy day, I like to read the clouds," since this is a less typical association with the given context. Beyond the text, generative AI is expanding rapidly to other creative domains, for example, image generation, A user could describe a scene they envision to the AI and can generate completely new images that matches the description. Similarly, in music, AI can now compose new melodies based on a set of inputs like genre, mood, or even a simple melody line. To wrap up, generative AI is transforming the landscape of creative and analytical tasks by leveraging large language models, it enabling more efficient content creation from text to images to music, and opening new possibilities across various fields, including entertainment and marketing. The key takeaway is that generative AI doesn't just understand input. It uses its vast knowledge base to create new contextually relevant outputs that were previously thought to be exclusive domain of human creativity. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello
Okay, so
everyone,
I'm not going to
I'm
go back to
Susanna.
Susanna's
What
talk again. This is just the YouTube sending me back. I'm glad YouTube is not sending me to some surprise ad here. So we have two versions of generative AI and definition, and both are technically correct. But you're coming at it from how are we building this, on what is the training data, what does it have in its memory, how is the model doing inference to actually fetch you the next best prediction, right? Which is what Paula was talking about. I tend to do a definition of generative AI the same way too, but what Susanna is saying is factually correct also. So I wanted to bring you those two videos next to each other so that you get a sense of how that is done, right? How it is, thought about in different worlds like that. So the other thing I want to do is I want to go to the whole concept of uh, thinking about the ethics of it, right? Because ethics should not be an afterthought. Ethics should be something about how AI is already um, serving everybody equitably. So one of the women's planning videos that I saw was Dr. Tara Sahib. I'm coming back. She's done tons of research, so she spoke very fast and told us a lot of things about her work because of the 2 minutes format. I hope we'll get to hear more from Tara Sahib again another time. But hello. Okay, I'm switching between a Mac and oh God, and a Chrome. So what I'm doing is, if you see me go, I'm actually doing a right click, guys. I'm sorry because I have a Mac.
Everybody, happy
Right.
Women's International Day. As you guys can see behind me is Bay Bridge, which means that I'm in San Francisco. My name is Sonia Taher Saheb. I'm an assistant professor of business analytics and information systems at Menlo College, and also I'm helping run VC Venture Capital, which targets underrepresented founders that are working on climate change or healthcare. My specialty is on ethical AI and responsible AI, specifically in healthcare. I'm interested mainly to understand that what causes users to adopt or be skeptical about an AI-based technology. For instance, in my recent research that I've been doing with some faculties from UK, we investigated, we conducted an FSQA analysis to develop asymmetrical modeling of factors that impact patients' adoption or resistance toward AI-based diagnosis. Recently, I just also started another research to understand what factors impact the success or failure of medtech startups, because not only entrepreneur personality or characteristics, but also ecosystem and regulatory, for instance, factors impact their success or failure. So this is the recent research that I'm doing. Thank you again, and I wish you guys the best. Happy Women's International Day.
Okay, so I'm going to quickly show you one more person who's also in the AI ethics world before I get out of this flow of what I'm showing you, because I didn't want to just random show you a bunch of videos, but I wanted to show you about AI, definitions of AI, because I'm very fascinated about how we all.
Let's talk about networking.
Okay. Uh, we have Irene in here. So I'm going to take a break from our flow uh, on just thinking about the different dimensions of AI and generative AI. Because one of the things we did this week was we said this time we don't want to just talk AI and different versions of it. So to wrap up that segment, and I'm going to come back to that, guys, okay? To wrap up that segment, what I want to show you is okay, let me come back. You see this? No, you see the YouTube one. Okay. Let me check what people are saying on LinkedIn and whether you have questions for me. Otherwise, I will continue on. So I was showing you the women's planning videos of what is Gen AI by two different people. I showed you Viola's definition of what is AIX, and we saw what is AI ethics research that Dr. Tara Saib is doing. But I want to take a step back out of this because it's International Women's Day. When I talk to different women, we are not one thing, and we just don't, especially for those of you who are on LinkedIn. I think I want you to hear from the LinkedIn Whisperer. So, who you're seeing on stage is Irene Kohler, a LinkedIn Whisperer. So, is that what you're seeing? My YouTube is all back on the screen, right, guys? I'm sharing. Yes.
Let's talk about networking, right? So many people think it's something we have to do, but they just hate doing it. I'm Irene Kohler, and I want to dive into something that's a game changer in the business world: relationships. It's not just about what you know, but who you know, right? People say that, but it's also about who knows you. Strong, meaningful connections can unlock doors to opportunities you didn't even know existed. So, how do we go from contacts to real relationships? Well, welcome to Smart Networking. There's a lot to share about the right way to build your network strategically with long-term success. But here I'm just going to focus on one element, and that is event-related networking. So getting the most out of an event means doing your homework before it starts. For in-person events, look up speakers, organizers, other attendees. Look them up on LinkedIn, and then you'll walk into that event with a list knowing who you want to meet. And then at the event, then it's time to shine. Use what you've learned about them to spark conversations. This preparation can really turn a casual, like, hi, nice to meet you, into, oh, I saw that post about sustainability. I found that really interesting. I'd love to talk further about that. See the difference, how that comes across? Remember, your goal is to be interested in the other person, not sell yourself. And you'll want to keep track of everyone you meet. One quick way to do this is open up the LinkedIn app on your phone right when you're there. There's a QR code and you can instantly connect with people. Makes it really, really easy.
Okay, so I'm going to pause that, especially since I have people coming from LinkedIn. I just realized, like, this authentic relationship is important. And when I'm going to be sharing events, it is important to do that homework. And it's better for me as a teacher not to say that you do your homework and look up people, to hearing from Irene, who is a specialist in that space. So, talking of events, I realized that there are tons of events. So, for those of you who are new, talking to me today, everything that you're seeing here, this whole list of women's planning is going to be in that bit.ly/women's planning playlist on my YouTube. But everything else that I'm sharing in terms of resources and links and jobs and stuff is actually going to be shared at my Jamthe newsletter. So that is bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter. So I'm just going to go there. Yes, I know I'm not sharing the screen, guys. Thank you. Um, So I'm just going to go there for the purpose of people who want a refresher on the link or they are new. So isn't that cool for International Women's Day? Okay, so bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter. And if you remember bookmark, you don't need to sign up for it, then you can come. Or if you join it, you will get an email from Pariya Sarin to hear about the latest. Every possible link that I'm sharing here will be there. So we have like jobs and events and reading material and all that stuff. So I had promised you about jobs, but I want to wrap up this topic on events. So one of the things I've been seeing is sitting in Silicon Valley, there are so many events. So many events. So I tend to organize and pick a few events. I follow some mailing list where I find them to be more interesting. So I bring that to you. But what I realized is this idea of networking and researching who is coming is interesting, but for me I would like to think about why am I going to this event, who's going to be at that event, not just from a networking perspective, which is important if you're going for the network to strengthen your network or build a network, because there are a lot of events on Gen AI and there's hundreds of them that I got to see, a really 100 per day that's happening in San Francisco, no exaggeration. um, so you will go, and then there might be a huge event where somebody is presenting and you get to know that. Or a lot of these events actually market based on what they see as a brand name person. So somebody might call me and say, oh, you speak about this topic because that is aligned with their audience. Or there might be a person who comes from a specific brand name company. So for me, I would look at the speaker list, but especially on International Women's Day, when I'm talking about women, I realize like a lot of speakers are invited purely by networking. Not networking as in by my network will call me. My students might say, oh, I liked her class and she knows what she's doing, and then they might refer me, and that's how by referrals you'll get. And some events don't have enough women represented, they don't have other genders represented because of the network access. And so I would not purely go by the company name or the speaker name, but I would go by, what is it is it a technical event? What is it talking about Gen AI, but is it talking just oh my god, what's happening in Gen AI space? Or is it actually going to tactically help me? You might go for the network because you want to network and you see certain people come, that's fine. Or you might say this is a business oriented event, or this is going to this is focusing on Gen AI but in production. Like ML Ops recently did this whole event on how to take Gen AI into production, and fantastic line of speakers and topic and real good content, and then you get those that you can follow up and stuff like that. So I think even when I give you my list, I would recommend you to do that. So on the jobs front, I want to quickly go to that. There is a AI policy manager in Mozilla. So the trend I'm seeing in jobs, I told you, was there's a bunch of ML engineers and data scientists, LLM related research and development kind of roles, a lot of engineer roles related to LLM. Um, they should be doing fine tuning and doing more stuff related to fine tuning. I'm not seeing that. There's a whole rush to do RAG. So people who are able to process data, understand the RAG architecture are the technical jobs. On the non-technical jobs, I'm seeing a lot of regulation policy jobs, not regulation, actual policy jobs. So Mozilla has an AI policy job. There's also a bunch of innovation jobs coming back up. So Volvo has an innovation director job. That's also very interesting. And then the internships have been moving away from for students. You've said that, why don't you tell me specifically about the jobs for students? So there have been a bunch of internships that was for undergrad, and we moved out from that, and we are seeing more masters and PhD calls from all the big tech companies. You'll find that on LinkedIn actually. The other thing is Berkman Klein Center from Harvard actually has a summer internship, which looks super interesting to me. And that is not limited to master's program students, right? Then there is a AI Governance Fellowship call 2024. So it's two fellowships in AI safety, that is focused on, again, policy in Africa. Then there's a bunch of reading material I'm going to share with you. On the launch front, I found that what was interesting. So do you have any questions on the job front? I will give you the hiring manager in the Jamthe newsletter when I know it. I know that for the most part. Or I will see whether you have any questions on that, guys. Okay. I have to refresh to see your question comments, I think. Okay, again, people going up. So those are new people who are joining in. Please add a question, comment, chat, or a emoji. I just want to know. I just give you a laundry list of jobs. I want to know. So bit.ly, I can write it here is in the comment. That's fine. So bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter has the list. Okay, has the jobs. This time I'm not going to do much events. There is a bunch of events, but as Irene said, I want you to be more strategic about the event and do your homework and get more value from the events is how I would think about that. Hold on for a minute. So we were talking about AI. We were talking about what is not AI. We saw two definition of Gen AI. We saw about what is AIX design, and then I switched to networking, right? Because I wanted to show you there's a lot more other topics for you to be successful. If you're learning AI, it's not just only AI. But I want to come back to AIX design. This is like a quiz for those of you who are watching. When you're thinking about building UX design, there are a lot of different fields that come together. Can you think of design for lawyers, or lawyers are doing it where it is involving us interacting with contracts? Can you imagine UX design being used there? And I have somebody to tell you just that. Oh, okay. No, yes, sorry guys, I'm not sharing the screen. I'll come back and share the screen. So on a Chrome, I have to jump across different tabs to do that. Once I switch to my Mac, I don't have to do that. Okay, so you see the screen? Yes? Boy, no.
So I would like to start this video by asking you a question. When was the last time that you read a contract? When was the last time that you understand the terms of that contract? On the other hand, do you think that design and law could be together in one sentence? So my name is Alejandra Infantes, and today we are going to talk about behavioral legal design, what it is and how it's used for. Behavioral legal design is a methodology that comes from law, so it has law in one corner, applies design principles, visual and information design, and UX principles because it's putting in the middle for the first time the legal user of legal products. And in the other hand, it's behavioral because it applies psychology principles to understand how people think, because every conduct comes from a thinking and a feeling. So how is used? Behavioral legal design is used in the construction of different legal products. What are those legal products? We can think about legal decisions, we can think about contracts, privacy policies, cookies. Even for companies, we could think about compliance. And we would like to say behavioral compliance that goes beyond just a norm, but it applies and understands the culture of our organization. Why I like it and why I think it's good? Because it's the first time that the user is, we have attention in the user. And in the other hand, I think it promotes justice, equal world, because now finally we can understand our rights. And that's it. So if you have any question, just let me know.
Okay.
Hey, I'm Ine Yenkinyika from Google's Exit Initiative, South Sudan. The literacy levels of women in South Sudanese communities are very low, and that makes the interpretation of basic documents written in English very hard for them, especially with the underrepresentation of South Sudanese languages.
So I wanted you to know that this didn't show up directly on its own. Think about this. We are talking about contracts. We are talking about putting UX design in contracts. And what if the contract and the constitution and everything that is legal content that is coming is in a different language than what the average person in the country is able to understand? That is
In
what
machine
is
learning
talking about.
technologies. To inspire inclusivity, Goggles, in collaboration with the Global South in AI, we will be mentoring 20 girls to build our first ever language chatbot in South Sudan. Happy Women's Day.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Shelby Murray.
I'm going to come back to Shelby because I love Shelby and her energy and what she's going to teach us. But I want to go back since we were talking about inclusion. We were talking about the contract, and then I showed you how what if the contract is not available, and Inki is saying it's available, but it's in English, and in South Sudan they speak Bari language, and Bari language is not included in the typical translation. So when you're watching women's planning, you don't need to jump across like I'm doing. I'm trying to keep a theme to show you Gen AI and AIX and then the AI ethics and bring it back to the UX design and how it will connect, because this is how it happens in industry, guys. You might say, I want to say in my silo, teach me Gen AI. I'll do that. I teach Gen AI, just Gen AI, right? But in reality, in industry, you have a set of people thinking about legal, set of people thinking about UX design, set of people thinking about everything in that lens of technology and how it works, how it is built, and the training data, right? And then there is the product manager, or you come in and put everything together. How are you going to do that? So I want to go back to the topic of inclusion, back to Susanna. On she started talking about inclusion, right? Did we leave her at the right place? Okay, this is not the window because we spoke to Susanna about this thing. Right now, here is where she's going to say what is inclusion. So let me bring that window back. So if you want to watch women's planning, you can just see all of these videos without any interruption, and as it is showing, and YouTube can decide how it is going to show for you. So let's listen to the inclusion piece from Susanna.
The action or state of including or being included within a group or structure. Have you ever been invited to a party but felt that you are not included? You are added on the guest list and you are invited there, but you are not included. And if you know what that feeling is, that is what defines the next two variables, next two definitions that we are going to see now. What is addition? Addition is the action or process of adding something to something else. And what is subtraction? The process or skill of taking away one number or amount from another. Do you know what happened with Gemini? They did addition and subtraction. They used a lot of addition, adding things that they thought were missing. And then they subtracted all the things that they thought should not be there. And then guess what happened? Gemini thought that our founding fathers were actually from another race, and it started making stuff up in order to include people, add people into the data set that it thought was missing. This is not inclusion. This is addition and this is subtraction. It's not inclusion. Inclusion means being invited and into a space where you are included in part of everything that is integral to the existence of that space. That was not there. So this year's International Women's Day is Inspire Inclusion. What is that? It's this, you know, this whole idea, that we are talking about in terms of making AI less biased is making sure that we don't add or subtract things. We don't try to change history or to try to change our presence or present days, by adding and subtracting, but by inspiring inclusion in it. And if
Okay, so I'm going to pause there and come back to Shelby because Shelby has done a beautiful session, 2 minutes video on LiveStream. And I wanted to show more women who are not just talking about technology, but they are users of technology guiding us in some way. And then before we wrap up, I want to show you that set of women who are the reason why people like me and you are able to do your job and be the expert, men, women, all of us, right? I'm going to, yeah. So I'm going to pause here because I'm a very big fan of live stream. So I just love Shelby's energy and her knowledge in that space. So I just wanted to make sure that you were able to see that. So we saw a bunch of women explaining from women who were talking to us about AI, Gen AI, what is not AI, what is inclusion, and what Susanna was talking, Susanna tends to talk with no jargons, right? So when she says addition and subtraction, what is it that she, in the technical sense, that what is the topic that I have taught you that she's talking about? When Gemini is being called out for showing the US founding fathers with a bunch of mixed race in there, and people are screaming about it. So there is a movement in building Gen AI products where everybody knows that the generative AI products are built from internet data. Forget the fact that it is without permission, that is also bad, but it's got Reddit profiles, it has got forums and discussions on anything and everything. And so it brings not just the history, the bad parts of history and biases, but it's specifically those people who are on the internet and screaming and mad and about different things and are very vocal, right? So all that is the pre-training data that went into the brains of the foundation models that generated the LLMs. So now when we build chatbot on it and you wanted to go talk to customers, so one of the things you have to do is to have some kind of mitigation technique for that. So one of the topics we have in the women's planning thing is from Pamela Gupta, and she talks about trusted AI. In fact, Pamela Gupta came in to Weekly Wednesday, which is my global speaker series that's run by my students on Wednesdays, and did a whole hour-long session about how to manage this. If ChatGPT had a bug and downstream all the apps which are talking to your customers are affected, you don't know what's happening. How do you manage that? And so that is what I understood as trusted AI, and I'm sure there is a lot more about trusted AI than just that dimension of it. So there is this one phenomena or one movement to manage or mitigate that bias that would come from ChatGPT. What they are doing is, when anybody is building a product, they're saying, we know it's biased, we know it can turn racist, we know it's going to go crazy. So what do? What Susanna was talking about, addition and subtraction, what is that called in technical sense? Any of you who have taken my class, who has taken my LLM webinars on Business School of AI, you are eligible to answer. Yes, you do fine tuning. So, what you do is you take a set of data and you fine tune the model. You say, I'm taking the world that has been fed into ChatGPT or Gemini, and now I'm going to fine tune it. I'm going to build a chatbot, and the chatbot is going to behave. This is my definition of what this behave, and I'm going to have instruction pair as structured data, almost like a machine learning model you run on top of the existing foundation model. And that's why the foundation models, when you build and fine tune it, it's called semi supervised learning, because it is unsupervised learning for the model, the whole foundation model. It goes and does deep learning from internet data, and then you do the supervised learning. So what Susanna was explaining was addition and subtraction, the way Google did for Gemini model, was fine tuning, and they had their own method of how they were doing it. I personally do not agree to the fact that Gemini is called out for fine tuning too much and and trying to get all races in the piece of history that did not exist, compared to leaving stable diffusion and midjourney and all the other, even ChatGPT with all its isms, right? To leave that aside, and everything that you show on stable diffusion or midjourney, first, other than being stolen content that belongs to creators without giving royalty, it is also bringing its biases, right? So I'm trying to give one of these generative AI tools to my the designer class I was telling you about, and what is happening is I'm not able to give one where I know it won't be biased. So the phenomena that I said companies are doing is they're building something called a validation engine. So they don't want this is exactly what Gemini is doing, the addition and subtraction. They are trying to do that, but they are trying to do that programmatically. So instead of saying, I know what this is right and what is wrong, and I want the AI to behave a certain way, and I'm going to write instruction set, and then I'm going to fine tune. Instead, they are actually building some programmatic engine where the AI would talk, get the customer would talk, the AI would give an answer. Instead of feeding the answer directly to the customer, now feed it to a validation engine. Is it racist? Is it homophobic? Is it doing this? Is it doing that? Is it hallucinating, getting us a product out from the internet that is from competition? And so you kind of build some rule based engine filtering, which will add latency. That's a different point. And then it comes to the customer. So that is not scalable. That is what everybody is doing right now, especially enterprise who's experimenting with pilots are trying to do that, and that is not scalable. Especially takes something which is transformer based, and it can chat and do quickly in a human conversation, and then to bring in a rule based engine in the middle is not scalable. It's like going backwards. But I don't know what else is possible out there. So if you are working in the enterprise, if you're building validation engine, if you're thinking about validation engine, or you've failed on a validation engine, or you're not sure whether that's the right thing, I want to hear from you. So one of the things I like to do with this live sessions is I like to engage people who are out in the world. I like to engage my students who are out and implementing and learning and building and innovating, to come back and tell us what is working, what is not, because I'm not here to just like parrot out what is out in the industry and just talk to you. Okay. So we heard from Susanna, we heard from Shelby, we heard from Irene. And one of the things, especially with this International Women's Day, and I got this reminder from Yash. She said, I'm not just going to get you technical women. I'm going to get you the women who are behind the scenes. So she got her mom, and I think it's not her grandma. She got somebody who's a grandma, and a music teacher, and people who are very passionate housemakers, who actually contribute to getting their children. I actually to go out and be successful in the world. And I saw one such post from Gurudev showcasing his mom, and she was a MSc in stats in India. And one of the and he thanked her, right? And she was a homemaker. And one of the things that in his post that actually stuck me was, he said they do a lot of social experiment more on women than men, more on women than men in India. And he was talking from India, since he came from India. But let us see. So what I want to show you is, before we close out, I want to get you Yashashwini's video, and a set of videos, lots short ones. This is all not 2 minutes. I think Yash's ones is little longer, I think, right, because it sets the context. But I just love how she was thinking, and I'm going to show the set of people she is talking about, and show that before we wrap up for today. So let me close out all my other windows so that it is not distracting me. I've already covered multiple talks and moved around multiple times, adding to my device trying to take a control of the right click on its own. So I'm going to go back to the Jamthe newsletter. I'm closing that window also. So for those of you who are coming back or joining now, you can always, I'm almost going to wrap up. I'm just talking about how we finished all the different technical women and the lessons and analysis of that. And I want to wrap up, and I want to show some amazing women because of which we are here. I'm here, you're here. It doesn't matter whether you're, male or female. We are here because of many women who allowed us, who sacrificed for us to get here. So let's hear from Yash.
Hi everyone, I'm Yashaswini Vishwanath. I'm here in Bangalore, India, and I am an AI researcher. I work on machine learning, which is a wing of responsible AI. I love AI, I love generative AI, and I think it'll bring up those amazing possibilities that we have never imagined before. Today, I've not just asked technical people around me to send a 2-minute video for me. I have asked women from all facets of life, multi-dimensions, who make up this society, an amazing society, to thrive. Happy International Women's Day, and here are the videos that I want to share with you.
Okay, sorry. And this is very short set of videos, guys. Okay, this is not even like too many, but I would like you to see that with me before we wrap up. And it was like very heartwarming for me. And I went back to AI where I didn't understand the language for somebody, but I will show you what I'm talking about in a minute. Okay, so yes, I stopped the sharing. I told you I'm on a Chrome, so I have to stop and share and come back again multiple times. So this is Yash's mom.
I am Sri Devi. I live in Bangalore. I account open in International Women's Day. I love cooking.
Okay, so this is her passion. She's taking care of her family. And there is another teacher whose profile was also shared.
Happy Women's Day to all. I am Vimala Tippeswamy from Chitradurga, Karnataka. I am 56 years old. I am working as a teacher. I love teaching because it gives me immense pleasure and keeps me active throughout the day. I love teaching because I impart knowledge to the students and I help them to become good citizens of the country. While imparting knowledge, I too gain knowledge, and also I will be always in touch with books. Along with teaching, I also love cooking and also taking care of my family. I love to keep my family happy and healthy always. Thank you all.
See, that is the common theme, I think, of all the women that we are not seeing in the tech world. And you might wonder why she's showing this while we come and talk about AI opportunities. We are building AI for the world. We are sitting at a pedestal where we have access, especially when I started working with Ine Yankee, who was talking about Bari language in South Sudan. The thinking was that they do not have enough language. It's called low resource language, so they do not have enough material for Bari translation to English. And so we said, okay, we'll go get it. Let's get creative. So I see this in tech meetings all the time. We'll get very creative. So we said, we are teaching these girls, they know English, they learn, their curriculum is in English, and this general women out there are the ones who speak Bari and do not get access to the documents that we were talking about before, that Yinki did in our women's planning presentation. And so we said, we can ask the girls to write poetry, we can make them get creative and come up with that more content in Bari, and then we can source that and convert that to English. And so we have the language translation content that we can now create embeddings and vectorization and feed and train the LLM. So that's like talk that you and I talk all the time, right? And I realized that there is more to it, because like the biggest challenge for them was they did not have as much internet connectivity, the culture, there were some cultural differences. So Susanna Raj and I are working on that project, and we are going to bring our own research on that, or what is the learning to bring low resource language from different global south communities. We'll bring that to New Rips for you, so that's good. But I just realized, and I'm thankful to Yash, who made me think about this and said there are so many women who have sacrificed, especially like for International Women's Day. I get all these WhatsApp messages and posters and stuff about how women make the home and stuff like that, right? Our moms make the home. And I just realized, like, showing people in their world who care about their families, and that's all they care about, right? That is their world, was very fascinating. So and not everybody talks English, not everybody has access and set up with tools. So here is one other person that Yash brought, and this person is so this person's name is Neelamma, and she's talking in a language called Kannada. I don't know Kannada as much as you don't know Kannada. Maybe some of you know Kannada, but I did play this in Google Translate to understand what she's saying. So listen for a second, like she's going to speak for 10 seconds, and then I'll tell you what she's saying.
ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣ ಆಶ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಆ ದೇವರ ನಾಮಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಚೆಂದಾಗಿ ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
Okay, so she's basically I believe Yash has found and taken this video, and this woman is 95 years old, and she was giving her name. Let me show her name in the beginning again.
ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ನೀಲಮ್ಮ.
Okay, her name is Neelamma, and she's talking about how she actually goes to this temple, and she remembers all the different names of gods and the poetry around there, and by which she's staying very sharp in her memory and brains, right? How she's doing. But she was talking about what is her way of life and what is she doing, which was very inspiring for Yash and for me. So before we close out, I want to go to one amazing person. There is a 2-minute women's planning video from this person in the same Bitly women's planning playlist that I shared on my YouTube, so you can understand their background. But this is a music teacher for Yash, and she knows to play 11 instruments. And how many of you have learned this poetry saying Johnny Johnny yes Papa? Let me show that. Okay, so this is before the music. I don't want to leave one woman out of this whole thing that I'm sharing today. It's another 10 seconds clip, guys, and then I'm going to show the music, and then we're going to wrap up. Okay, where is it? So I have learned this in school. I don't think this is a common one you learn in the American schools, but we learn this as Johnny Johnny yes Papa, eating sugar no Papa. So everything we say Papa as if you're talking to the dad, right? So listen to this.
Johnny Johnny Mama, eating sugar Mama, telling lies Mama, open your mouth.
Okay, so this mom has decided that she's going to take care of her child, and she's just going to replace the Papa to a Mama when they're learning the poetry. And I don't know in Susanna's definition of addition and subtraction whether this is kind of changing history because this is a poetry or this is a rhyme that has been taught over generations. but I would have liked to learn this with more women in the poems I learned, in the stories I've learned. I would like a lot of variation of some of those history, not the history of what happened, but what is given as what is possible in the world, that sets the stage for women to say, I can be a doctor, no, I cannot be an engineer. I mean, that's something that Yankee is working with Google's ICT to change that mindset. But it all comes subliminally from the poetry we learn, I believe. So with that, I'm going to show you the music teacher who knows to play 11 instruments and has been Yash's teacher. I did not know that Yash played music, new music. I think she's learning vocals, but this is a musical instrument this teacher is playing. And so when you ask somebody to women's plain, they speak their own language, they speak English, they try to speak even a translation from their language, and you saw the variety here today. And this woman is a musician, and she basically talks to us in music. So she is Shanta Rao, and here we go. Okay, and this is a musical instrument called veena, and this is playing classical Indian music. It's called Carnatic music. And I am very touched by this because my mom used to play the veena, and I can relate to this music. And that again goes back to what we are talking about, inclusion, and how we think about biases in our thinking. When you say music, this is what comes to my mind. Okay, with that, I'm going to show you some of this, and then we will wrap up, guys. It's about a minute. Okay. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. This is Shanta Rao, and she is based out of Bengaluru, and Yash is a music teacher who plays 11 instruments. Okay. So with that, we are going to close out. Thank you everybody for hanging around with me. And I made a variation. Instead of just talking to you about AI, I tend to go and talk a lot about AI. So I did go and I showed you a bunch of AI, AIX, and inclusion, and AI ethics and research, and different applications. But I did bring Irene Kohler to remind us how to do networking, and Shelley to talk to us about how to do live streaming, and an amazing set of women who are reminders of who is working behind the scenes, why we are here on this International Women's Day. So thank you everybody, and thank you Yash for bringing this last segment of amazing women. I want you to look around in your communities, in your lives, and thank the women who have brought you here, who have contributed, who have sacrificed to get you here. And I hope for the men out there, I did a post on what is women's planning for the men who do not mansplain at automated buildings. I would love for you to, stop women's planning. If a woman who knows the topic is being mansplained in around you, and I hope you'll thank the women in your life who are contributing to this, or make the world better for your daughters and your friends and colleagues like me around there. So with that, let me wrap up. Thank you everybody. Stay safe, have fun in the weekend, and I will see you at Weekly Wednesday. If you're part of my Weekly Wed community as Business School of AI, you can just follow Business School of AI on LinkedIn, and you'll get that live stream too. Otherwise, I will see you next week at Sudha Live. Bye. just going to stop the live stream. And I'm going to switch to my Mac, so no fidgeting on the right click next time. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Bye. See, I'm doing that again. I didn't say I'll stop it now. I'll stop it after I switch my